President Bola Tinubu don swear in Vice Admiral Ibok Ibas retired as the sole administrator of Rivers State. The swearing-in ceremony shele for Presidential Villa Abuja with ogbonge government officials wey include the Chief of Staff Femi Gbajabiamila, Attorney General of the Federation Lateef Fagbemi SAN and Presidential Principal Secretary Hakeem Muri Okunola. President Tinubu's decision to appoint the sole administrator follow after he declared state of emergency for Rivers State on Tuesday, March 18, 2025.
Vice Admiral retired Ibokete Ibas do solemnly swear, affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that I will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So help me God. I, Vice Admiral retired Ibokete Ibas, do solemnly swear and affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that as Administrator of Rivers State, I will discharge my duties to the best of my ability, faithfully and in accordance with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the law, and always in the interest of the sovereignty, integrity, solidarity, well-being, and prosperity of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that I will strive to preserve the fundamental objectives of directive principles of state policy contained in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that I will exercise the authority vested in me as administrator so as not to impede or prejudice the authority lawfully vested in the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and so as not to endanger the continuance of Federal Government of Nigeria, that I will not allow my personal interest to influence my official conduct or my official decisions, that I will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that I will abide by the Code of Conduct contained in the 5th Schedule of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that in all circumstances I will do right to all manner of people according to law, without fear or favor, affection or ill will, that I will not directly or indirectly communicate or reveal to any person any matter which shall be brought under my consideration or shall become known to me as administrator of Rivers State, except as may be required for the discharge of my duties as administrator, and that I will devote myself to the service and well-being of the people of Nigeria. So help me God.
After the ceremony, the sole administrator of Rivers State for in talk with Tori people come talk say im go maintain order and say im appointment na to bring stability to governance sake of the long political paralysis wey dey affect the oil-rich state.
First of all, I think we know the circumstances that led to where we are here, and Mr. President made it very clear in his broadcast, and if the main issue is that of maintaining law and order in the state, I think for any meaningful activities to take place in Rivers State, that is the utmost task that I have, to work together with all other stakeholders to ensure that we bring peace, order, and security and stability to the people and government of Rivers State and Nigeria at large.
Meanwhile, the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Lateef Fagbemi can defend President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's declaration of state of emergency for Rivers State, say na the right time and e go help stop further collapse for the state. Fagbemi can chook mouth on top the President's Tuesday broadcast on top the political wahala for Rivers State and come explain say the decision of the President dey based on the Supreme Court ruling on Rivers State. The Minister of Justice come also talk about why the President declared state of emergency, say the Governor and the House of Assembly failed to create environment wey go help deliver the benefits of democracy to the people.
Where what I will call telegraphing of the militants, I would say by the Governor, and the reason I said so was when he beckoned to them that, oh, he will let them know when it was time to act to the militants. Let us say it was wrong. Did he come out to disown them? The answer is no. And a week after they swung into action, you see or witness vandalization of oil pipelines. Don't also forget that before now, that is when this government came into office, Nigeria was producing about 900,000 liters of oil, barrel of oil a day. With the efforts and all the ingenuity that the president had, he ensured that the production rose to about 1.5 barrel per day. That's about 45 of something increase. Governors were smiling home at the end of the month with about 60% increase in their take-home to their various governors. Then somebody rose or encouraged or became inactive when he was supposed to act. There was not a word dissuading the threat, the militants who issued this threat. In today's Nigeria, maybe with the efforts of the Mr. President, a Greek will come in, but as of today, we still rely largely on oil. For anyone to touch these pipelines, it's not only the enemy of rivers, it's the enemy of Nigeria. All Nigerians, all the 36 states share in what comes in from the production of this oil. And I believe that the decision of Mr. President is anchored on the decision of the court, Supreme Court at that. The second one is the inability of those involved, both the House of Assembly and the governor, from being able to, create an enabling environment for the people of rivers to enjoy the dividends of democracy. Then the third in the series is about the security situation in that place. If he had waited maybe a day longer, only God knows what would have followed. And as a result of that, he came out to say, I am not only the head of state, I'm commander-in-chief of the armed forces, declared a state of emergency.
Fagbemi also criticized the suspended governor Simi Fubara, say he failed to speak against the militants where they cause trouble. He accused Fubara say he dey indirectly support the militants where their threats and destruction make the political and security wahala worse for Rivers State. When them ask am whether federal government go still release the state allocation even with all the wahala, Fagbemi talk say the funds go dey available if the administrator asks for them.
The question of separating or treating or giving preferential treatment to anybody does not arise. You give preferential treatment to anybody, you are giving preferential treatment to hooliganism. Just call a spade a spade. This is where I believe that we should put up our patriotism cap. It shouldn't be about individual. It should not be about anybody. It should be about the entity called Nigeria. But in this case, the River State. So, it is River State's turn today. It can be anybody's turn tomorrow. Let the signal be clearly sent for those who want to foment trouble, who want to make the practice of democracy and enjoyment of dividend of democracy a mirage, to think twice. So, I answered the question by saying I return a resounding no to the quest that the governor and deputy governor should have been spared, or the members of the House of Assembly.
For another development, the Niger Civil Society Situation Room strongly condemned President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's declaration of a state of emergency for Rivers State, where unlawfully removed the duly elected governor and deputy governor and suspend the State House of Assembly for 6 months. Dem talk say these actions represent one big slap on Niger constitutional democracy and direct threat to the rule of law. The come also tok say dem categorically reject the unconstitutional power grab and call on the National Assembly to reject the illegal declaration. They also yarn say the judiciary must play a role to make sure say dem stop the assault on democracy, say the Naija Civil Society Situation Room remains committed to defending democracy, upholding the rule of law and preventing Naija from descending into executive tyranny.
The Nigerian Civil Society Situation Room strongly condemns the actions of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in unilaterally declaring a state of emergency in Rivers State, removing the duly elected governor and deputy governor from office, and suspending the State House of Assembly for 6 months. These actions constitute an egregious assault on Nigeria's constitutional democracy and a dangerous threat to constitutional rule in Nigeria that must not be allowed to stand. The President's reliance on Section 305 of the 1999 Constitution, as amended, as a justification for this draconian move, is a blatant misinterpretation of the law. While the Constitution provides for the declaration of a state of emergency under specific and extreme circumstances, it does not grant the President the power to unilaterally sack elected officials or dissolve democratic institutions. The removal of governor and state legislators is a grave violation of the principles of separation of powers and the democratic rights of the people of Rivers State, who freely elected these leaders. This is a point underpinned by the judgment of the Supreme Court on the Rivers State issue, which was ironically referenced by the President himself in his address last night. It is also evident that the political situation in Rivers State does not meet any of the circumstances to be declared as an emergency. According to the Constitution, valid circumstances for such a declaration include war or external aggression, a breakdown of public order and safety, and threats to the government of a state when the governor neglects to act, among others. The Nigerian Civil Society Situation Room categorically rejects the unconstitutional exception of the powers and calls on the National Assembly to refuse to approve this illegal declaration. The Senate and the House of Representatives must uphold this constitutional duty to check executive excesses and defend Nigeria's democratic institutions. We urge lawmakers to immediately reject the unconstitutional overreach by the presidency, thereby preventing an authoritarian drift that threatens the stability of our nation. The Civil Society Situation Room unequivocally rejects the President's reckless decision, which poses a direct threat to democratic governance, undermines human rights, and violates the rule of law in the country. The President is prioritizing political battles and suppressing dissent over effective governance, neglecting the pressing economic and security challenges that the government urgently needs to address. Situation Room expects that voting on the Rivers State Emergency Declaration will be televised nationally, with each person voting electronically. The Constitution is very clear that what is required for the emergency declaration to pass is 2/3 of votes of 360 members of the House of Representatives and the 109 votes of the members of the Senate, meaning that no less than 240 members of the House of Representatives and 72 senators must vote in support of the declaration of the state of emergency for it to stand. Otherwise, the declaration must fail and the governor and the state legislators be returned to office immediately. Furthermore, we note that special place for the judiciary in moderating executive excesses and rascality, and do urge it to assert its independence and ensure that this assault on democracy does not stand. Situation Room also urges the international community, including the United Nations, the African Union, ECOWAS, and other democratic nations, to take note of this constitutional breach and exert diplomatic pressure on the Nigerian government to reverse these illegal actions. Democracy strives on the respect for the rule of law, due process, and the will of the people. Any attempt to override the electoral mandate of the people of Rivers State is a direct affront to the sovereignty of the Nigerian people and must be resisted by all democratic forces. The Nigerian Civil Society Situation Room remains committed to defending democracy and holding the rule of law and ensuring that Nigeria does not descend into executive tyranny. We call on all Nigerians to stand in solidarity against this dangerous precedent and demand the full restoration of constitutional governance in Rivers State.
As a member of the Situation Room, I think we need to be very upfront and honest and question the neutrality of Mr. President, because every time he tries to intervene, his focus is on Fubara. And the person responsible, which is the FCT minister, is kept under the carpet, swept under the carpet. So there's a need for that. Now, finally, the morality of what he has done, the pain to my people, the Rivers people, is unbearable. And I think there's a need for a peaceful resolution of this. He is the father of the nation, and this is the time for him to show that he's truly a father of the nation. The people of Rivers State is asking for peace. We don't want trouble. We don't want anarchy. And let me finally say that, please, my people, every Rivers man is civilized. Do not take arms. Do not go to the creek. Do not blow the pipeline. Let us remain peaceful until this is resolved peacefully.
Make una not forget, say, as we see him, now so we dey talk am. We know they take blame. A Kata Ojisele reporting for TMC TV.